What if I told you that the most rapidly expanding solution for maintaining privacy on our planet isn't found at a fence supply store or a bamboo farm? Instead, it thrives along ancient property markers and neglected hedgerows, where old farmers once planted species whose purposes they never fully explained. These are plants that construct living boundaries without the need for posts or permits. Plants that shield your land without encroaching on your neighbor's property. The conventional fencing industry offers you panels that will decay within 15 years. The very bamboo they promoted has become the most litigated against plant in America. Yet, your great-grandfather established his homestead behind living fences that required nothing more than your time. Those very hedges remain standing today. He possessed knowledge that the modern landscaping industry hoped you would overlook. Stay with us, because the second plant on our list was so exceptionally valuable that its scarcity directly led to the innovation of barbed wire. We present 13 green fencing options that grow more swiftly than bamboo, beginning right now. Welcome to this channel, where we unearth forgotten solutions that contemporary industries have deliberately obscured. If you subscribe to the belief that nature has already devised answers to the very problems corporations now sell back to us, then you've arrived at the correct destination. So, here are 13 green fencing alternatives that grow faster than bamboo, ranked from impressively effective to utterly astonishing. Number 13. Hybrid Willow, the speed champion. You might have encountered these marketed under the name Ori, a registered trademark for a hybrid cross between the handcow willow and the white willow. This hybrid was specifically engineered by researchers for maximum growth velocity. Here's why the hybrid willow is so remarkable for creating living barriers. University studies have documented growth rates of 6 to 10 feet within a single year under favorable conditions. This means a simple stick planted in April could stand taller than your house by the following September. Its root system remains confined and fibrous, unlike the invasive runners of bamboo. Hybrid willows can thrive in waterlogged soil that would prove fatal to most privacy-cultivated plants. Furthermore, they endure drought once they are established. Plant them 5 feet apart, and they will intertwine to form a dense screen within 2 growing seasons. The most advantageous aspect is propagation. Simply take cuttings from branches in late winter and insert them into the soil. They will root almost without fail, providing you with an endless supply of free plants to expand your living fence. For anyone requiring swift privacy without the infamous bamboo predicament, the hybrid willow is the speed champion that truly delivers. Now, while the hybrid willow exhibits incredibly rapid growth, the subsequent plant on this roster holds the actual world record for the fastest growing tree on Earth. Number 12. The Empress Tree, the world record holder. Scientists refer to it as Paulownia tomentosa, and it has been cultivated in China for over 2,600 years. Emperors esteemed its timber for crafting furniture and musical instruments. Here's why the Empress Tree is significant for privacy fencing. Under optimal circumstances, this tree can achieve a height of 10 to 15 feet in just 1 year. That is not a misstatement. 15 feet in a single growing season. No other tree globally matches this scientifically verified growth rate. Its enormous, heart-shaped leaves create dense shade and an effective visual screen within months of planting. In springtime, the tree adorns itself with spectacular clusters of purple blossoms before its leaves unfurl. You can rejuvenate it by cutting it back to the ground, and it will regrow even more vigorously the second time. Plant them 8 to 10 feet apart for a privacy screen that establishes itself faster than any other available option. One crucial point to consider: some states classify the Empress Tree as potentially invasive, so it's essential to verify local regulations before planting. For anyone desiring the absolute fastest-growing privacy screen scientifically documented, the Empress Tree is the world record holder that truly lives up to its regal designation. Number 11. Leyland Cypress, the American classic. This tree's existence only began in 1888, when it spontaneously appeared at Leighton Hall in Wales. A cross-pollination between a Monterey cypress and a Nootka cypress resulted in a hybrid that would become the most extensively planted privacy screen in America. Here's what makes the Leyland Cypress reliable for green fencing. It consistently grows 3 to 4 feet per year, without the dramatic fluctuations seen in some rapid growers. Its soft, feathery foliage retains its green hue throughout the winter when deciduous plants shed their leaves. It is unaffected by salt spray, making it an excellent choice for coastal properties. Plant them 6 to 8 feet apart, and within 3 years, you will have an impenetrable visual barrier. No invasive runners, no spreading, and no ensuing lawsuits. Prune it once annually in late summer to maintain its density and your desired height. Millions of American homeowners have selected the Leyland Cypress for valid reasons. It simply works. For anyone seeking proven year-round privacy from the most popular screening plant in the nation, the Leyland Cypress stands as the American classic that consistently delivers. Number 10. Thuja Green Giant, the survivor. The United States National Arboretum introduced this hybrid in 1967 by crossing the western red cedar with the Japanese arbor vitae. Within mere decades, it evolved into the most highly recommended privacy tree across North America. Here's what makes the Thuja Green Giant exceptional for living fences. It can withstand frigid temperatures down to USDA Zone 5 and intense heat up to Zone 9, encompassing most of the continental United States. Deer tend to avoid it, unlike other evergreens that they readily consume. Problems with diseases and pests are virtually non-existent. It grows 3 to 5 feet annually while maintaining a naturally pyramidal shape that requires minimal pruning. Plant them 5 to 6 feet apart for a dense screen. The foliage releases a pleasant fragrance when brushed against. Unlike bamboo, it remains precisely where you plant it, posing no issues for neighbors or building foundations. For anyone in need of a robust evergreen screen that can endure harsh conditions, the Thuja Green Giant is the survivor that perseveres when others falter. Number 9. Privet, the ancient boundary. As far back as 2,000 years ago, Romans were planting privet hedges to delineate property lines throughout their vast empire. These hedges established a tradition that continues across Europe to this very day. Here's why privet retains its value for green fencing. It tolerates pruning better than almost any other hedge plant. If you prune it severely, it responds by growing denser. Even if neglected, it still performs admirably. Semi-evergreen varieties retain most of their leaves through winter, while deciduous types offer more rapid growth. The fragrant white flower clusters in summer attract pollinators to your garden. Plant them 12 to 18 inches apart for an impenetrable formal hedge. Within 3 years of consistent pruning, you will possess a living wall that rivals any conventional fence. Privet grows 2 to 3 feet per year, and it cooperates with your shaping efforts rather than resisting them. For anyone desiring a traditional European hedge that has proven its worth over 2 millennia, privet is the ancient boundary that remains effective. Number 8. Lombardy Poplar, the green column. When driving through northern Italy, you'll observe these distinctive, slender trees lining roads and marking property boundaries for miles. They arrived in America in the 1700s and became the quintessential windbreaks of rural landscapes. Here's what makes the Lombardy poplar unique for privacy screening. Its tightly columnar form grows directly upward rather than spreading broadly. A mature tree can reach 40 to 60 feet in height, while maintaining a width of only 10 to 15 feet. This vertical growth occurs rapidly, 6 to 8 feet per year when young. Plant them 6 to 8 feet apart, and you create a wall of green columns that effectively screens everything. They do have a shorter lifespan compared to some trees, averaging 15 to 20 years. Astute gardeners plant replacements in a staggered fashion to ensure they never lose their privacy. For anyone needing to block views from elevated vantage points, the Lombardy poplar is the green column that reaches higher, faster. Number 7. Eucalyptus, the aromatic barrier. Over 700 species of eucalyptus thrive in Australia, and plant breeders have developed cold-hardy varieties capable of surviving well below freezing temperatures. Here's what makes eucalyptus a powerful choice for living fences. The aromatic oils that impart eucalyptus, its distinctive fragrance, actively repel mosquitoes, flies, and other biting insects. Your privacy screen simultaneously functions as an insect barrier. Growth rates can reach 6 to 8 feet per year, with some species exhibiting even faster development. The silvery blue-green foliage adds visual appeal throughout the year. You can coppice eucalyptus to maintain a hedge's height or allow it to mature into screening trees. Those same aromatic leaves can be harvested and dried for household use. Plant them 8 to 10 feet apart for a screen that smells as delightful as it appears. For anyone seeking both privacy and protection from pests from a single planting, eucalyptus performs double duty as an aromatic privacy screen. Number 6. Mulberry, the edible screen. Chinese silk farmers cultivated mulberry trees for over 4,000 years to feed their silkworms. However, these trees yield far more than sustenance for silkworms. Here's why mulberry deserves a place in your living fence. Its dense branching structure creates a solid visual screen even during winter when its leaves have fallen. In summer, those branches produce pounds of sweet berries that taste like a blend of blackberry and grape. Birds are so fond of mulberries that they often neglect your other garden crops, making this a decoy planting that safeguards your blueberries and strawberries. Growth reaches 3 to 6 feet per year with minimal effort. Plant them 6 to 8 feet apart for a fruiting hedge that truly earns its space multiple times over. Mulberry tolerates drought, heat, poor soil, and neglect while continuing to produce. For anyone who desires their privacy fence to also provide sustenance, the mulberry is the edible screen that offers continuous rewards year after year. Mulberry provides food while simultaneously offering screening. But the next plant accomplishes something entirely different. It actively enhances your soil while growing into an impenetrable barrier. Number 5. Black locust, the soil builder. Early American colonists disseminated this native tree across the country because its wood possessed exceptional resistance to rot, even when buried for decades. Fence posts fashioned from black locust could last 50 years or more. Here's why black locust holds value beyond its timber. Similar to beans and peas, it assimilates nitrogen from the atmosphere and enriches the soil. Your living fence effectively fertilizes the ground around it. Plants growing in proximity to black locust benefit from the enriched soil without any need for additional fertilizer. The fragrant white flower clusters in spring offer early-season sustenance for bees. Sharp thorns along its branches create a security barrier that deters both human and animal intruders. Growth can reach 4 to 6 feet per year under favorable conditions. Plant them 6 to 8 feet apart for a fence that improves soil while establishing privacy. For anyone seeking a living barrier that enhances their land rather than merely occupying it, the black locust is the soil builder that justifies its presence. Black locust constructs fences and enriches soil, but the subsequent plant has safeguarded European farms for over a millennium. Some of those original hedges remain standing to this day. Number 4. Hawthorn, the 1,000-year fence. Wander through the British countryside, and you will discover hawthorn hedges that were planted before William the Conqueror's invasion in 1066. Nearly a millennium later, those same hedges continue to define property boundaries. Here's why hawthorn outlasts all other options. Its dense, thorny growth creates a barrier that livestock cannot penetrate. Traditional farmers would lay the hedge by partially cutting stems and weaving them horizontally. This technique resulted in living fences that were completely impassable. Modern gardeners can simply plant and prune for a dense, thorny screen. Hawthorn grows 2 to 3 feet per year, but lives for centuries with minimal attention. Its white spring flowers attract pollinators. Red autumn berries provide sustenance for birds throughout the winter. These berries are also edible for humans and have been historically utilized for cardiovascular health. Plant them 12 to 18 inches apart for a hedge that your great-grandchildren will still be enjoying. For anyone who desires a living fence that will endure 900 years longer than wooden fences, hawthorn is the 1,000-year solution that time has unequivocally validated. Hawthorn provides protection with its thorns. But what if you desire aesthetic beauty in addition to your barrier? The following plant creates a flowering wall that effectively obstructs while simultaneously presenting a spectacular appearance. Number 3. Rose of Sharon, the flowering wall. Korea has designated this plant as its national flower, and it appears extensively in Asian art dating back centuries. Here's what makes Rose of Sharon ideal for flowering privacy. Large, hibiscus-like blossoms bloom from midsummer through autumn, a period when very few other plants are flowering. Colors range from white to pink to purple to blue, depending on the specific variety. Hummingbirds and butterflies are drawn to the abundant blooms. Even in winter, its dense, twiggy structure provides visual screening that conceals most views. Growth reaches 2 to 3 feet per year, forming a substantial hedge within a few seasons. Rose of Sharon tolerates heat, drought, and poor soil conditions that would challenge other flowering shrubs. It self-seeds, naturally filling any gaps that may appear. Plant them 4 to 6 feet apart for a flowering privacy screen that performs when your garden most needs a splash of color. For anyone who desires their living fence to be beautiful enough for prominent placement in the front yard, Rose of Sharon is the flowering wall that consistently delivers. Rose of Sharon brings beauty to boundaries. Now we have arrived at the plant I mentioned at the outset. The living fence so profoundly valuable that it irrevocably altered the course of American history. Number 2. Osage Orange, the fence that predated barbed wire and spurred its invention. This thorny tree was indigenous to a small region encompassing Texas, Oklahoma, and Arkansas. Native Americans highly prized its wood for crafting bows, and the Osage tribe controlled its trade. Here's why Osage Orange was transformative. Frontier farmers discovered that a hedge of Osage Orange was horse-high, bull-strong, and pig-tight. Its formidable thorns created an impenetrable living fence that supplanted the need for expensive, imported fencing materials. The demand for Osage Orange hedges surged across the American West during the 1850s and 60s. Farmers simply could not plant them fast enough. This scarcity of living fence material directly precipitated the invention of barbed wire, patented by Joseph Glidden in 1874. Barbed wire was, in essence, created because Osage Orange could not be cultivated rapidly enough to enclose the frontier. Its wood is the most rot-resistant in North America, lasting over 100 years as fence posts. Growth reaches 3 to 4 feet per year. Modern correctional facilities still utilize Osage Orange for perimeter security. For anyone who desires a living fence so effective that it compelled humanity to devise an alternative, Osage Orange is history growing in your backyard. Osage Orange made history. But we have now reached number 1. The plant that encapsulates every desirable attribute of a living fence, entirely devoid of its drawbacks. Number 1. Hybrid Poplar. The complete package. Plant breeders have ingeniously crossed multiple poplar species to develop the most practical, fast-growing privacy screen currently available. Here's why hybrid poplar merits the top position. Growth reliably reaches 5 to 8 feet per year. This rapid expansion culminates in complete privacy within 2 to 3 years, starting from bare root transplants. Its root system remains confined and fibrous, thus preventing any foundation issues or neighborly disputes. Hybrid poplars exhibit equal tolerance for both waterlogged and arid soil conditions. They can thrive in poor ground that defeats other rapid-growing species. Its summer foliage is sufficiently dense to obstruct all views. Bare root plants can be shipped affordably through the mail and establish with ease in early spring. They are economical enough to be planted in quantities that create instant living fences. No invasive spreading, no regrets associated with bamboo, no lawsuits. Simply rapid, practical privacy that remains precisely where it is placed. For anyone seeking all the advantages of fast-growing screens without any of the disadvantages. Hybrid poplar is the complete package that delivers year after year. These 13 plants represent fencing wisdom that modern nurseries have supplanted with bamboo sales pitches. Your grandparents never purchased bamboo. They planted hedges that stayed put. And some of those hedges are still standing a century later. Frontier farmers constructed entire homesteads behind living fences that required no purchases from the hardware store. British farmers continue to harvest from Hawthorn hedges planted before America was even colonized. You do not need bamboo encroaching into your neighbor's yard and cracking your foundation. You never did. Select 1 or 2 plants from this list that align with your climate and your objectives. Order bare root stock this winter and plant in early spring. By next fall, you will possess privacy that remains exactly where you planted it. These plants have been establishing boundaries for centuries. They are ready to establish yours. If this video has demonstrated the invaluable offerings of nature, please subscribe and leave a comment indicating which plant you will be ordering first.